We're magnifying microscopic masterpieces in this meticulously measured episode of Little Big Thumbs. Welcome to Little Big Thumbs, a channel that's devoted to finding great games that are equally fun for little players and big players. My name is JP, and our focus today is on a game called Diatoms. The game is for 1 to 4 players and is designed by Sabrina with artwork from Nim Ben-Reuven, and it's published by Sabrina's own company, Ludoliminal. Now, I've been following Diatoms since it won the Cardboard Edison Award earlier in 2023, and it's even been featured here on the channel in a previous episode. So I'm excited to finally have a prototype of this game in my hands so that I can show you more about it today. What we're going to do over the next few minutes is give you a brief overview of how to play the game and discuss how accessible it might be for younger players. After that, we're going to break down the 3 uniques of the Diatoms solo mode and why you might want to consider adding this game to your collection as a solo player. So, let's don our lab coats and tune up our microscopes because it's time to learn some more about diatoms. Before we get started today, it is important to remember that we are going to be looking at a prototype copy of the game. The look and the quality of the components is almost guaranteed to change before the final version of the game arrives. In fact, since this prototype started arriving in the hands of reviewers, the final artwork for the game box has been revealed. In this competitive game, we are collecting cute bits of algae and arranging them into pretty patterns, both for the joy of creating beautiful mosaics and also to impress the judges of the Society for the Microscopic Arts. As we're creating these diatom mosaics, there are 3 factors to consider, and the first is all about color matching. To score these points, the position of your diatoms does not matter, just the quantity of each color. The second factor is shapes. Each microscope slide board is made up of 3 rings, and each of these rings will score separately based on how many unique shapes appear. Finally, we're going to be looking to create symmetry with our diatoms to impress the third and final judge. Each microscope board includes 4 central lines, and if the 12 equidistant pairs on each ring match in color, shape, or maybe even both, players will earn themselves some additional points. Now, that last one can be a little tricky for younger players, but it's also the factor that can create the most beauty on our final boards. I might suggest playing with those first 2 judging criteria and then adding the third symmetrical way to score after your young ones are familiar with the basics of the game. Speaking of those basics, let's quickly talk about how we get these diatoms into place on our microscope boards. To collect the diatoms we need to create our works of art, we'll be placing water tiles into a shared central area on the table. Each player will have 2 water tiles in front of them, and on each turn we'll be taking 1 tile from the supply, and then from those 3 available tiles, placing 1 into this communal playing area. When we add a tile, it must connect to at least 1 other tile, and all sides that connect must match algae colors. If we create a sample point with our active tile, we'll place this handy tool over top to help determine which diatoms to collect. We can kind of think about this like little slices of algae pie, and the number of connected matching pie slices will tell us what sorts of diatoms, what shapes we're going to be acquiring. For instance, this sample has 3 connected segments, which wins us the 3-point triangle shape in the appropriate color. Once we've collected our diatoms, we have until the beginning of our next turn to place these little beauties onto our microscope boards. But once a diatom is in place, it's locked in and cannot be moved for the rest of the game. The game continues this way until all water tiles have been placed, and then we'll proceed to scoring. We're going to be calculating some pretty big numbers here, so young players may need a little bit of help determining their scores, but once everyone has figured out their scores, the player that has the highest point total will be the winner of the game. Now, it might seem like there's a lot to consider when playing Diatoms, but the basic structure of each turn is very simple, and even for young players, it just takes a couple of turns to understand the flow of the game. There's no hidden information and very little reading, which means both of my girls can participate in this game even if they don't quite understand how to plan ahead and create the perfect patterns on their own microscope boards. Experienced Diatom players can also add in a fourth scoring criteria in the form of guest judges, which not only introduces an extra way to score, but also sometimes brings negative points into the game. Each judge comes in easygoing and persnickety moods. And I just adore that they found a way to use the word persnickety as part of a meaningful game mechanic. So that's our quick overview of Diatoms. If you have any questions about the rules, I'll be including the official link to the game in the description of this video, and you're always welcome to leave your questions in the video comments. And if you'd like to have some larger conversations about Diatoms or any other family board games, make sure to join us in the Family Tabletop Community Discord server. It's a lovely space that's been created as a result of a team-up between LittleBigThumbs and the Family Gamers. And we'd love for you to be a part of this growing community. And again, you can find the Discord invite link in the description of this video. Now, let's toss up a quick transition and we'll be right back to talk about the 3 uniques of the Diatoms solo experience. Okay, so we don't often put our focus on solo gaming here at LittleBigThumbs, but when we do, it's because we found a game that's doing something really unique. Diatoms Commissions is the solo mode of this game, and it's even more of a puzzly challenge than the multiplayer experience. In each commissions scenario, we have a very specific pattern that we need to recreate in order to win. So here are the 3 key features that we think makes Diatoms an extra special single-player experience. Our first unique is the variety of puzzles available. The prototype we received includes just a handful of commissions, but the Kickstarter community funding this campaign has helped to unlock dozens more. If you're a dedicated or even a casual solo gamer, you're going to find a lot of replay value in this package. Our second unique is the Diatoms Commission's loss condition. In so many solo games, we see a situation where we're just trying to beat our previous best score. And while there are ways to win better at each commission, the threat of failure is always looming. Each scenario gives us a certain number of empty petri dishes, and if we're unable to place some diatoms on our microscope board, they must be placed in one of these petri dishes. Each dish can hold up to 6 sample points of algae. For instance, a triangle, an oval, and a circle makes up those 6 points. If all available dishes are so full that we cannot drop another single diatom into one of them, we immediately lose the game. This adds a lot of natural tension into the game and makes sure that every turn that we take is going to be a meaningful one. And our final unique is that each commission scenario can be played as a cooperative puzzle to solve with one of my children. Because of the restrictions of each commission's goal, I'd say that the solo experience is a tiny bit less accessible for younger players. But if we're playing as a team, we can discuss our options for each turn and get that sense of accomplishment when we solve the puzzle together. And even if we don't succeed, it's so easy to just reset and try again. And with those 3 uniques completed, I think that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you to Ludoliminal for letting us borrow their prototype so that we can show you what the game is all about. And as always, thank all of you so much for watching. And until next time, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you keep playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.